hero? Wait, what?
What?
Why would you do that?
So I have someone to fight. I'm a villain without a hero. I have no purpose.
Megamind is finally willing to address the elephant in the room with Minion and admit that he feels purposeless. But he focuses on the exterior, on creating a new superhero to battle, and that tells us two things. One, he has an external locus of control, meaning that he believes his life is dictated and controlled by external factors. And two, because of that, he thinks his purpose is outside of himself. He says, I'm a yin without a yang, yet the yang should not be sought externally. In fact, it is meant to be discovered within oneself. Yin, yang, feminine, masculine, left, right, up, down, whatever duality you refer to, they're meant to be equally present in oneself, and the skills associated with each should be available to you. The simplest way I can describe it is by using the words internal and external. You need both internal and external processes because your external processes are influenced by your internal one and vice versa. For instance, if you want to speak external process, you're going to need first an internal one, thinking what you're going to say. Now, if you rely on other people to trigger any of these processes, you grow a dependency on that person, therefore creating codependency. The most ridiculous example of that is when I hear people say that their partner should allow them to be in their feminine or masculine. Guys, you don't need permission, okay? And if you think like that, here's a question. Who are you without a partner? Got the answer? Great. Now just be that with a partner too. Anyways, he then refers to being a bullfighter without a bow, which makes me think he sees being the villain as his job. And it's like he never thought that he could actually just switch careers. Because you know, what happens if there are no bolts anymore? Or if you cannot fight them anymore? Who are you then? Scary questions. Not the donuts, dude.
I'm going to give someone, I don't know who yet, Megamind powers. Finally, I'm going to fight that hero in an epic battle of good and evil, which will put everything back the way it was.
The way it was.
When the world was perfect and rosy.
Again, internalization. He thinks him being the villain and living in the shadows is the right thing. It's what makes the world go round, basically. Again, this is when people incorporate the beliefs or opinions of others, and it's Megamind's biggest obstacle, as you can see. In a perfect world, he'd mutter these words to then realize he doesn't deserve to be in the role of villain. But hey, if that would happen, we wouldn't have this movie, right?
Tell me what you see, Dandruff.
How did you recognize it?
Yes, it's his DNA.
The fact they're literally using his DNA is the perfect way to describe looping, which is when people engage in behaviors, often unconsciously, that sabotage and hinder their progress. Megamind is caught in a behavioral loop where he tries to recreate the hero-villain dynamic. And this is usually when we choose comfort over progress in our own journeys. And we do it because it feels safe and to avoid uncertainty. Here's a nice exercise. You can define the boundaries of it too as well. For a week, do the opposite of what you would usually do. Let me know in the comments how it goes.
I think this is a bad idea.
Same.
Yes, this is a very wickedly bad idea for the greater good of bad.
But from a good perception,
My brain hurts.
It's just plain bad.
Oh, you don't know what's good for bad.
Yeah, I think he's right. Minion is representing his moral compass, and while he can't articulate exactly what feels wrong about this, he senses that it's not the right path forward. Also, the inability of Megamind and Minion to understand each other also symbolizes the internal conflict he's experiencing and the fact that he has difficulty grasping the nuanced nature of morality. He sees good and evil as strictly defined roles, which is what doesn't allow him to understand the complexity of human behavior, including his own. People are a mix of good and bad, the persona and the shadow. But this crisis is needed for his development later. I mean, people often need to see their plans failing before they're persuaded to change tactics.
You must find a suitable subject, someone of noble heart and mind, who puts the welfare of others above their own.
See, this is what he thinks a hero is. Someone that has no sense of self, someone that sacrifices their own identity for the greater good. And he has this perspective because this is what society defined as a hero. Which could also explain why he doesn't want to be a hero. Sounds pretty horrible. So this is a highly idealized role, but he doesn't realize it's unrealistic because he believes society. And we can see proof of that in the fact that he's convinced he's a villain. Now, because he operates from a role perspective, he seems to reduce the idea of a hero to a simple mold that performs certain actions, when in fact it should be a job title, not a whole personality. Like him being a villain. It's the same thing. Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
You know, I really could use your help in deciphering all this.
Really?
Really?
Together we could figure out his plan for the city and stop it.
That's exactly what he wants.
Oh, what fun.
The Bernard persona forces Megamind to adopt a completely opposite behavior, but also he experiences positive social feedback from Roxanne, which challenges his belief that he is inherently evil, you see. It must be weird to be evil as Megamind, but not as Bernard, and I related this to the idea of self-concept, which is influenced by social interactions and the feedback we receive from others.
Me, you fool.
Bernard!
This is going wrong.
It's Daddy. You know the drill. Oh, no, not the drill.
Not the truth.
Go!
Or what?
or I'm gonna find out what this weird-looking gun does.
No, don't shoot that gun.
Notice how he's scared of having that gun used on himself? This is because the identity of villain, although negative, provides a sense of security. So the prospect of becoming a hero brings a lot of uncertainty and change. And he feels like he could never take on that burden. Him clinging to his villain persona is like wearing old shoes that hurt his feet. But a comfortable new pair would mean changing his outfit. And if your outfit is your identity, you'll find yourself in a conundrum. And also wearing the same shoes.
I'll just go get him. His strength's too much. Oh, I work out. It's really paying off. I'm strangely charismatic.
This might be the weirdest banter I've heard in a while. The praise he gives himself through Bernard kind of makes me think that this is the kind of acceptance and admiration he'd like to receive from society as well. This is a good example of self-validation. If no one will tell me how amazing I am, I will do it. More of that, please.
Oh no!
Who on earth is that?
That is the archetype of the nice guy, of the mediocre dude, if you will. He's usually a people pleaser, conflict avoidant, and lacks assertiveness. This is a guy that might have good intentions, but then he goes all wrong about it and can't understand why he isn't liked. It's like when a guy who, after a few texts, complains about how most girls would ghost him by now. He might think this is endearing, but is really coming off as desperate and passive-aggressive. She's not yet done. Yeah.
You were right about that door being exciting.
Yeah, I want one. Without the crocodiles.
I've never seen anyone but Metro Man stand up to him like that.
Okay, this is the first moment Roxanne sees Megamind's true personality, and I'm... Woo! What the hell? We're back? Okay. Where was I? So as I was saying, this is the first moment that Roxanne sees Megamind's true personality outside of his imposed villain mask, and I am living for it. She sees someone gifted, heroic, admirable. I mean, look at that. The girl got her flirt on. Even though she still thinks this is Bernard, what she's attracted to is his personality. Remember, initially Roxanne shows no interest in Bernard based on his physical attributes. Her attraction to him is sparked by his qualities. I mean, Megamind's. I find this a little reminder that attraction goes far beyond physicality, and I think it's important to keep it in mind in today's dating scene. Remember that connection goes beyond your screen aesthetics or short-term gratification. Once you'll be old and gray, if you're lucky enough to even get there, none of these things will matter. So focus on what actually does matter.
I was just about to make my frontal assault to rescue you, but like 50 ninjas tried to attack me. So I had to beat them all up, and I did.
Wow, a brave one, isn't he?
Here we can see why girls usually go for the bad boy instead of the nice guy. The nice guy uses fiction to create a personality he wishes he had. He spends a lot of time describing something that isn't real, and it's obvious it isn't real to anyone but him. The bad boy doesn't tell you their personality. They show you through actions, kind of like Megamind as Bernard. He didn't have to tell Roxanne, I was just about to rescue you. He just did, and also expected no thanks for it. I mean, the man sacrificed his own brain bots for God's sakes.
This is Bernard. He's my partner.
Partner? I'm her partner. She doesn't know what she's saying. She's been through a
Dude.
traumatic
I
experience.
better take him home.
Notice how the mediocre nice guy immediately feels threatened because his self-worth is tied to whether he'll be romantically accepted by Roxanne or not. And the more he's rejected, the more his frustration grows, which makes him incredibly dangerous for society. What really makes him fall in the nice, mediocre guy archetype is that he thinks that by controlling Roxanne's environment and who's in it, he can secure her choice. This proves he has a need for control and doesn't acknowledge Roxanne's autonomy whatsoever. And that's why the bad boy usually doesn't feel threatened to compete for someone's attention. He understands the choice belongs to Roxanne, so it is useless to have this dick measuring contest with her. He doesn't even respond to him, he simply focuses on her. Very attractive.
Thanks again, Bernard.
Oh God.
I'll call you tomorrow, partner.
Yeah, okay. I'd like that.
That was weird for everybody.
Dude, just let me live. This is the first hug Megamind has ever received from another human being. I mean, maybe Minion hugged him, but he's really 3/4 machine at the end of the day. There's no warmth. And look at him, he's so taken aback. His reaction shows that he's as starved for human interaction as Hal is. Yet he's not desperate for it and doesn't feel injustice because he never had it. This shows that Megamind and Hal are not that different. Just one is better than the other at managing their feelings and not lash out into the world. We know Megamind had a really bad childhood. We know Metro Man had a great childhood, and these are meant to represent the possible extremes. We don't know anything about Hal's childhood, but we do know that his experience is better than Megamind's and worse than Metro Man's. So why didn't he end up more or less like one or the other? Well, that's just for another time.
He's too fantastic.